Hey folks, welcome back to another Dice Tower preview. I'm Mark, and today we're taking a look at Storyburg, which is brought to you by Dancing Koala Games. It's for 1 to 4 players, ages 11 and up, and games generally run about 45 to 180 minutes. A mysterious force is ripping apart Storyburg. Explore the perils solo or as a team by playing as Dorothy Gale, Peter Pan, Alice Liddle, and Little Nemo. You, the players, will travel to Oz, fly to Neverland, fall down the rabbit hole to Wonderland, and dream of Slumberland. Solve the mystery of the pages and save Storyburg before it's too late. Storyburg is a co-op adventure story deck building game. You will equip cards, play actions, and create ultimate dice rolls in a thrilling adventure for the ages. Elements of dungeon crawlers, deck building, and pick your own stories create a unique gameplay each time you play. With 5 action-packed chapters, Storyburg will entertain your gaming group through multiple sessions. So join me as we dive into the pages of Storyburg. This game really does have that feel of allowing you to dive into a storybook as you try to save Storyburg and figure out what is going on with all familiar characters. And it is worth mentioning that the designer is also the artist with this really fun, whimsical art he's put into play. Now you have several characters to choose from. I'm just set up here for a 2-player game for ease of showing it. But each character will have their own character card, obviously, and on the back side of that will give you some setup instructions that are specific for that character. Now, for Dorothy and Nemo here, they're going to have some companion cards, and you'll shuffle those up and draw one at random to start with at the beginning of the game. Now, you have level cards, levels 1, 2, and 3, and as you move through the game, you'll level up at various points and switch those cards out. Now, also, you can become tired in the game. If so, you will flip the card over, giving you less options. And all the icons you see on these cards are going to be related to creating dice pools and using those dice pools against checks and various things that you have to traverse in the game. So it is crucial to get leveled up so you get better and bigger, better dice, so to say. So you also have your main character board where you'll set your health, and this will be tracking your level as well as some tokens at the bottom that you'll acquire through various story actions, giving you the ability to turn these tokens in to gather more dice for the different checks and different types of challenges you're going to be introduced throughout the course of the game. You also have a set of cards that are specific to your character with unique art. It's just really well done. And the thing here is that you have actions that are available to you through the course of the game, as well as different types of gear that you'll be equipping on your character and so forth that will allow you to do various things. So the reason you're using these cards obviously is to build up your dice pools as well in order to help you through the story and adventure. So yes, this is a narrative, story-driven adventure. You will be moving through the storybook, trying to achieve the goals that are put in front of you, and there's multiple paths at times, giving you options like A or B, do this or that. And I'm really going to try not to spoil story stuff for here because it really is engaging and unique as you travel through this book, even in the introduction or tutorial in this chapter 1. So I really don't try not to spoil stuff here, but I'll show you some little bits here and there in this book and just page through it a bit so you can see. So as you move through this book, you're going to be going to cards. Now there's several different cards out in play, and the book may lead you to story cards, which they're all numbered, and it'll give you a certain number to pull and engage with. There's also path or peril cards that are going to be, like I said, peril or enemy, things that are going to happen with these cards. And again, you're going to lead to all kinds of checks and rolls and putting your dice together and so forth. And of course, there are your minions and bosses that you're going to have to be dealing with and battling against. And of course, there are stores where you can acquire more cards. It does have that deck building aspect as you buy these cards and put them into your deck for play later. Now, you'll see the cost in the top right corner, and there will always be 3 visible, and you can pay money in order to exchange these cards out and see what else is in this deck. So you do have lots of options for augmenting and adding to your deck as you move through the adventure. So the main structure of what you'll be doing during play is the fact that you'll start with the storybook. Always, always, always go through the narrative and do what it says. And there'll be basically 3 main activities that this book will call out, and everyone will get to take turns around those main activities. So first, it could be a path card that you engage with, or it could be some sort of challenge that you all have to go up against. or it could simply be battling a boss and minions. So those are kind of the three main things that you'll be doing in that main activity. But of course, there's a whole slew of optional activities for you as a player to engage with. The big one being using cards from your hand based on what you're trying to achieve in that particular part of the adventure. But one of the big things you're gonna be doing is probably equipping cards. So in your hand of cards, you always will have 4 for each round or every turn that you're playing, and you have several different types of cards you can equip. And of course, you can only ever equip one of each type, so you have to make choices if you want to swap something out. So you can put equipment on for your head, your hands, your body, or simply an item that you can put into play, and you'll attach all of those to the bottom of your main player board. Or you might choose to play an action card. Why would you do that? Well, action cards are going to usually help you augment your dice pools so you can use better dice when you engage in battles or when you go up against a challenge of some sort. Now, if you take a look at the dice, you'll start with red as the best dice and yellow is the lowest possible dice, giving you less faces, obviously, for meeting those challenges. So along the way in between, you can obviously switch up your dice as you move through the game, and various cards will help you do that, especially the action cards. And then you might buy a card from the shop, which is just the value in the top right corner you have to pay. Now you can also sell cards from your hand that, you know, if it has a dollar value or a coin value in the right corner, you can sell it. It will just go to the bottom of the shop deck if you do so. So if it doesn't have a coin value associated, then you can't sell it. You can also spend 1 coin to refresh the entire shop, which is really nice. And then finally, you can choose to discard whatever number of cards you so choose, because at the end of your turn, you will be drawing back up to 4 cards, so maybe you want a fresh hand to work with. The other thing you can do at the end of your turn is try to recover from tired. Like I said at the beginning, your level cards will flip over if you become tired. And if you do become tired, there'll be a challenge on the other side of that card to show you what you need to roll in order to not be tired and move through that particular challenge. And like everything else, you'll need a certain set of dice or a certain number of successes in order to do so. So just as a couple examples, if you're fighting an enemy or going up against a challenge, you're going to create your dice pool. So based on what that is, either having courage in a battle, or having defense when they attack you, or you might be nimble if you try to escape, or you might have this brain check, which is going to usually be some sort of challenge. Now, again, level 1 on your cards will show what your starting dice pool is. Again, it's going to probably start pretty low. But through the course of the game, you're going to obviously have those different action cards that are going to help you swap out better dice. You will acquire tokens that will help you get better dice or additional dice, as well as your companions, in the case of these 2 characters, may augment you as well, like the Tin Man. You can change any dice in a defense battle or defense check to one of the black dice, so giving you more defense when you battle back and forth, right? So it's really that simple. You create your dice pool and you roll them to see how many successes you get. And again, it could be against an enemy, or it could be against some sort of special type challenge, like the One Last Step. This particular one is a nimble challenge, and all players would need to do this for this challenge. However, when you're battling a basic enemy, that will be 1 player, and you'll continue back and forth battling until he is defeated or you become heartbroken, which you're not out of the game. It will limit you to some degree, but you'll still be in the game, still be able to play, but you will have to sit out the rest of that particular fight if you do engage and that happens to you. So you'll take damage, you'll move down and so forth. But the enemy will also take damage, you'll be putting them on their card. Now you can also choose to try to escape by using your nimble, and you'll be rolling against that just like everything else. So I really like the fact that you have many options around battling, as well as the different challenges that come up based on what you find in the story and the paths and the story cards that come into play. And of course, there's many types of enemies in this game. You have minions, which go with a certain boss. So you will always have to battle those minions before you get to the boss. But there's also mega bosses in this game. So those are the kind of battles that you will all have to collectively work together to defeat. Other types of cards that you'll encounter in this game are things like path cards, where you'll get full turns for each of the paths that you move along on this card. And again, it's going to be definitely related to the story and what's going on. And then you also have explore cards, which may just be an event that triggers, and you'll have to have some sort of engagement with it or challenge to overcome, as well as possibly an A and B choice as you deal with those cards. Also, finally, there are treasure cards that you'll be able to acquire in this game. So it really does have lots of engagement with these different types of stories that you're with, based on where it will lead you into those cards and how many challenges you have to come up against. But it is this cooperative experience for sure, or again, you could play it solo. So those are just the basics to give you kind of a feel for the game. All right, folks, just a reminder once again, this has been a Dice Tower paid preview, and everything you've seen has been in prototype form. So keep a close eye on the campaign for any changes that still may occur. Now, with that said, this is definitely one of the best looking prototypes I've seen in a while. It looks polished and done, and the story is definitely engaging, very family friendly as you deal with the different challenges and creatures that you have to come up against. Lots of neat twists and turns, and there are multiple paths as well, so it may change up how you play a second time or third or fourth. So really some interesting aspects there for sure. Now, it is very much a narrative-driven story adventure, so keep that in mind if you like that type of game. And the cards also engage with and add to that story from the storybook. And again, you can flesh out your characters however you see fit by buying more cards and just doing various actions and leveling them up based on what's happening in the game and in the story and so forth. But folks, ultimately, if this looks like something of interest to you, I'm sure they'd appreciate your support. So I think that's it from me, and until next time, we'll see you at the table.